about the culture of your team, because I've spent some time with your team on site. I know that they all seem to put their head down and they work pretty hard. They work well as a group. What do you think sort of built that culture? What makes them stick together and perform well?
I think, just trying to get in like-minded crew is a big thing that I've sort of always pushed for. Pretty much everyone who I've hired has been a bit of word of mouth, either through you guys or through like friends of mine or friends of friends. So I suppose having that referral process has always been a positive. And the fact that someone's willing to put up their hand and say, I recommend that they've got their head switched on, is a huge plus, rather than just sort of seeing a resume and reading it on paper and trying to guess and then have to work it off through a few phone calls. But then even then through the interview process of like phoning them, having that conversation, meeting them face to face, calling their references, like you get a pretty good gauge of someone meeting someone face to face, having a conversation. So,
you'll know if their attitudes,
Yeah. So I suppose just knowing the culture that I want people who, as you said, want to put their head down, or like keen to learn, know that there's a job that needs to get done. I suppose, trying to make sure that my goal and vision and everything is communicated clearly enough so that they can feel that they can jump on board and be a part of it. For me, I try to make it feel like we are a team. We're all in it together. It's not my business. It's ours. Like it wouldn't be a business without the team. So trying to, I suppose I try my best to make sure that the guys realise that I do appreciate the work that they put in.
How do you give back to them as well? Like, do you do some lunches and, like what else do you do sort of outside of, or maybe during work, but is there ways that you try to give back to the team too?
Other than the coffee runs and extended lunch breaks and stuff, we've done a few dinners here and there. I would love to do more, but again, that's just probably more an organisation thing for me. But I try to make sure the guys rewarded for the efforts they're put in.
And obviously how you run your thing is different from, like when you were an apprentice and you went through that thing, you probably weren't getting dinners.
Not that I can really remember, but I feel like my apprenticeship felt a bit more old school than what I'm trying to set up for my guys, I guess.
The new age sort of coming through. I was talking to some of the Habitat boys earlier today, and they were saying that it's just so different compared to say 10 plus years ago when they were doing their apprenticeship and sort of starting out in the trade. It was almost like people prided themselves on how much they didn't look after themselves, and they'd get on the piss and they'd be smoking. There was all these things, and that was like quite normal. And he goes, we go to a site and there might be, out of 20 people, there might be one person who rolls a cigarette, or no one smokes. They're running triathlons. It's just
there has been a bit of a culture shift in that way.
The culture shift is like health and they're sort of mental health conscious, and that people are a lot more understanding, and it's very especially in the trade space as well, which you always think is a little bit more rough and tumble. It's not that much. It's not really that way anymore, and that's definitely shifting more and more.
So even just the accessibility, like the kids now have, not just kids, but everyone has the fact that you've got your phone, anyone can get on the internet. Like everyone knows all their entitlements. Everyone knows like what's going on. Very easily can search up other job roles and see what else is out there. Like there's just been a big culture shift, really.
And even you're right. It is the access to information is massive. Like people didn't know. They didn't know if they weren't being paid.
They didn't know any better.
They had no idea, and they just sort of went by whatever their bosses said or whatever their parents said, stuff like that. So it's given a lot of young traders their own agenda and their own sort of mindset as well.